And I believe we are live. What's up, Cody? How's it going?
Good. How are you, Daniel?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for coming here on the podcast and talking about being an entrepreneur and opening your own business.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. All right. So let's get started. Coty Riddle, why don't you tell us about your business that you have and starting it up?
So back in 2015, I was a freshman in college, and I was working at a golf course during the summer. And so during the winter months, I didn't have a job.
You can bring the mic a little closer.
Sure.
Yeah. You were talking away from it. There we go.
So during the winter months, I didn't have a job, and so I didn't have any income during those months, and it was kind of my parents both own their own businesses, so being an entrepreneur was kind of in my blood from the beginning.
Nice.
One thing that I really wanted to do was to start my own company, kind of following the footsteps of my parents as well.
Yeah.
And what I did was, first, I started out selling cars, buying and selling cars on Craigslist.
Oh, nice. I've always wanted to do that, but I don't really have that much time, though. I've been starting to work on the house.
Absolutely. So buying and selling cars is where I started, and then that kind of grew into the business that I have now, which is an embroidery company.
Mm-hmm.
My mother owns an embroidery company as well, but I wanted to expand on that and kind of go a different route than what she did, where she was more locally. I wanted to go more across the United States.
Okay. Oh, wait. So you started and were actually trying to get clients from across the country is what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she did things locally, like the schools, places of business locally, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to target more individual people so we can make specialized items for those people.
Okay. So like personal T-shirts and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
People who don't know, Cody's going to be helping me make T-shirts for Skewed Reality Podcast. So when you're a guest, you get a T-shirt. Sorry, just want to put that plug. Go ahead.
It'd been great if we'd got that done before.
Yeah, no, but I'm slacking on that. I've got this design done, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to go with the blacking. Well, people will see.
I'll just make myself one.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so to go more nationally with the business, I had to create my own website.
Yeah.
And that was the first really big milestone that I had to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea how to do anything with a website or anything like that.
I haven't started a website yet, and I really need to. Everyone's telling me.
I think I can help you if you need it.
Yeah, I will. I'll ask.
So starting out with a WordPress site is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do you mean by a WordPress site? Like, is that like a type of website?
It is a type of website.
Oh, okay.
The background basically is WordPress is the background stuff that it runs on, and it's pretty user friendly.
Okay.
Excuse me, just one second.
Is that one of those like template websites that you can make and
Almost.
You basically like plug and play?
Yeah. So it's pretty. You're not sitting back there coding the whole time.
Thank God.
So it's more of a text box friendly type thing, but
Okay.
it is HTML type stuff. So
it's pretty straightforward. It's not something that you really have to understand too much. You can kind of jump into it.
Right, as long as you're doing basic stuff.
Okay, cool. No crazy designs.
We tried to design a program where you could design your own T-shirt, where you put your pictures and things like that on there.
Yeah,
we had to get some outside help for that, but anyway, where were we at?
You were at you made a website.
That's right. Okay, so we got the website up and going, but we didn't have much traffic on it at the time.
Yeah.
Which is really hard, which I'm sure you've seen with your podcast here.
Yeah, surprisingly, the first episode I was telling you about, the first episode went ahead and launched. Let's see, we got a bunch of views on the first episode, 76. The last episode, we have 38 right now. I'm very pleased. We got 18 subscribers, and I've gotten 10 additional followers on Instagram. People, tell your friends. Seriously, this will be a big help. But anyways, continue on. Yeah, so what was the next step then after you made the website and you didn't have traffic? How did you get it?
So I knew a guy that actually built websites. So I contacted him. I was like, hey, how do I get this thing on Google and get people to really, really see it? And he told me, he's like, search engine optimization. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, I don't get it. I understand it, but I'm thinking from a search engine standpoint, not from trying to make money.
Right. He's like, well, anything that you want to sell or keywords such as that, he said, put it on every single page. Like put in the tags, put in the headers and in the actual text and do things like that. He said, also, you need to make a Google Plus page because that you link your website to that and they're like, oh, hey, this is an actual website, and they have a Google Plus page. So we'll put it on Google.
Is that like a verification method or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So
we were talking about LLCs yesterday with my roommate, and he was saying that's like a verification saying this is a legitimate company. So I guess that's what the smaller companies would do is the Google Plus page.
Yep.
LLCs next.
They send you a thing in the mail, and they're like, hey, you're verified. And we're like, oh, cool.
They actually say that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's badass.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that now. That's why you kept recommending it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
So once you do that, it usually takes about a month really to get you on there because they got a lot of bots that have to run through and things like that.
Yeah.
But after I made the website, I still didn't get a whole lot of traffic. I got a lot more traffic than what I was expecting, but the sales still weren't turning sales over. So
you weren't making enough, basically.
Right. So I mean, with any business, it's a trial and error type thing anyway.
Yeah.
So there was another website called Etsy, which I started on as well, which is actually a friend recommended me going on there and selling because it's a lot of personalized items on there.
Yeah. What is Etsy?
So Etsy is almost like an Amazon, except for more custom or supply type stuff.
So would they do if you needed a design made, you would go to Etsy? And so you could actually basically say, this is what I'm needing, and someone will make it for you?
Yeah. So
gotcha.
They sell, it's a place for small companies, small businesses to come and sell their items. Not everything's personalized. It's more of a custom type stuff. So I did that and kind of got away from the embroidery side of it. I kind of just contracted that out, and if we had orders on that, and we bought a laser cutter / engraver.
That's so cool.
Which it was really cool.
Well, didn't you actually build that?
No, it was purchased.
Oh, that one was purchased?
Yeah.
You had the tubes from the other. We'll link back to that. Sorry, y'all. Distracted.
So we bought the laser cutter with initially with an idea we were going to create these magnet art is what we called it. It was these magnets with picture frames that you stuck to your refrigerator, and you could put your pictures in there and take it on and off in one piece, which was a pretty cool idea. Didn't turn out so well, but that's with anything.
Yeah.
So instead of cutting those, we started cutting small acrylic shapes and keychains and stuff and selling those. And then...
would you sell personalized ones, or you just had general shapes and you just sold them?
Yeah, so I'd sell 100 of circles. People would buy them, and
then they get stuff printed on it?
They get their little vinyl cutters and make their own shapes, which I can cut 100 of something in 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
Instead of making one little item. So that really made a lot of money that way, and didn't take a whole lot of time. Then one of the Advantage Sports down here in Dalton actually contacted me and wanted me to create...
Advantage Sports, where's that at? I can't remember.
It is...
I don't know. It's not important.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
So they contacted me and said, hey, I have let's see, I think it was 500 cups or something.
Yeah.
Can you engrave these? I was like, well, I guess. And
so you didn't even know if you could?
Right. So I'd heard that there was a spray that you spray on the cups that leaves a black mark, because my laser won't actually engrave on metal, but the spray actually etches down into the metal and it creates a black mark.
Gotcha.
So I researched about the spray and was able to figure out how it worked and that I can actually use it. Yeah. And so I ordered the spray. It's $75 a can for a 12-ounce can, which is crazy.
God.
Yeah.
But how much do you use per etching on average?
At first, I used 2 cans for the 500 cups. So it was really expensive.
Yeah.
But I finally figured out a method of spraying it on with only using one can for like 1,000 cups, which was cool.
Dang. Hey,
Yeah.
that's just optimizing the machine, getting used to it and tuning it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just small stuff like that, word of mouth really helps spread the business.
Yeah. Well, I bet after that, you got some more companies because the guy's like, yeah, man, this guy, he just did it for me, and he's up in wherever you're from. So,
Yeah, and being a small business, you can do things a lot cheaper
Yep.
than somebody that's got 1,000 employees.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have as much overhead costs for sure, especially
Exactly.
because I'm guessing by now your equipment was paid off like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So all the profit was just made in the job.
Yeah.
Man, and you were doing this all while you were going to college.
All while I was going to college.
Yeah, I barely could manage that.
It was definitely a challenge. That's the thing about entrepreneurship. It's always a challenge.
Yeah. What would you think was the biggest step where you actually said, all right, getting going? Mine was like for this podcast, when I actually bought the crap, I was like, all right, it's actually going to happen. Because I'd been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And then like I told Omar on the first podcast was one day I accidentally said, yeah, I'm starting a podcast. And I was like, fuck. I'm thinking of starting a podcast. So, but yeah, no, once I bought all the equipment, I was like, yeah, I'm getting the ball rolling. At what point did you realize, yeah, this is actually going to pick up. I could make money on this.
Yeah, I think the first thing is conquering your fear of failure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can fail at anything.
Yeah.
But being persistent, which is one of the P's that we were talking about earlier.
Okay. The 3 P's of entrepreneurship.
Right.
Okay.
I think there's actually 4, but I like 3. I
Yeah.
like things in
3's
threes.
easier.
Pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So passion is another one. You have
Yeah.
to be passionate about what you're doing, or
Yeah.
else it's going to be too hard and you're going to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not passionate about it, about what you want to do with your podcast, if you're not passionate about it,
Yeah.
you're just
By
going to
the
give
second
up.
episode, you're done. It's like, what's the point? It's too much work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
A lot of learning.
Yes, I mean after I bought the camera, I realized it was like I don't know how to live stream. I don't know how to sync this microphone with that camera. So I spent the day before the first podcast. I spent probably 10 hours like, this is what I gotta do. Okay, I need this, and I was hoping I could download it on an old computer. And this is how I started off. I bought the microphones. I don't even have a computer. This is my brother's laptop, and that's a work computer. And I can't download anything on that without work's permission. So I doubt they're going to let me download the software. So I use my brother's computer and then that work laptop in case they need to search something while they're there. So anyways, that's what I've realized from the start is I was still passionate about it, and you have to really want it. And after getting ready for it, it's been a lot of fun. So you were actually passionate about printing out T-shirts and all that and just making money?
Yeah. Well, money is part of it.
Yeah.
But it can't be all of it. You have to enjoy doing it. So if you create something for somebody, like if somebody's got a grandkid and they want their picture on a T-shirt and they say, Grandma loves you or something, that makes you feel good inside when you see them smiling when they pick up their order.
I guess that's what about that Etsy website where you have the personalized item where it's a lot more. It's like, oh man, that's going to look great. They're going to love this. Yeah.
Here's a cool story. I had another grandmother contact me, and they wanted a cancer T-shirt, and they had a 13-year-old granddaughter that had cancer of some sort. I don't remember what it was exactly.
Yeah.
But I sent them. I think they wanted to order the wooden initials that I cut out with the laser, and so I sent them a wooden initials and also a T-shirt and some other goodies in the bag. And the best part about it was. She sent me a picture to my email account with the girl holding up her shirt and with her initials on the side.
Oh, yeah?
It was awesome.
Oh, that's such a good feeling, I bet.
It was awesome. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, man, that's so cool. And then, eventually when you have tools like that, you can do that for just random people.
Yeah.
That's got to be fun. Have you done many other, wait, before we get on. What's the third P? I'm curious now. Persistence and then passion.
Persistence and patience.
Patient. Oh yeah. You gotta wait for the company to grow. You gotta wait for it to get big.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
it definitely doesn't.
I guess if you think about it, you could do all of that with any sort of project. Like doing the floors. I did my floors recently in the house, and when you're painting, oh my God, painting is the slowest what it seems, because you're just rolling over and over, and you have to do these corners with a paintbrush, and after the third coat, you're just ready to blow your brains out. But when it's done and you feel good about it, you gotta be patient. You gotta really want to work for it and everything.
Absolutely.
So how successful is your company now? Well, in terms of success, are you turning a profit now?
Yeah. So the initial cost was pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
The laser machine was really expensive.
Yeah, imaginable.
But yeah, now that we got it paid off, I mean, the profit's pretty good.
That's awesome. So you could actually claim this as a proper second income.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, I bet that's a big deal, because I mean, my brother was talking about, or I've had friends mention, when they get married to someone else, you now have like a relatively shared income, and they say that second income's a big deal, and it makes a comfort of living that most people don't experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that on your own, that's a good deal. You don't have to share it with anybody.
That's the thing about money. If you say you work 40 hours a week, that's a limit on what your income's gonna be.
Yeah, you have a stamped amount that you're gonna get, unless you're in sales and you get commission.
Right.
Yeah.
But even that, time is your limiting factor. So if you can branch out and do things like, so I'm sitting at work and people are ordering things, I'm making money, and I can
while you're at work.
While I'm at work,
nice,
making extra money on the side. So, if you can get into things that make you money without you having to really do anything.
Oh, that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. Kind of. Well, I'm not going to get into your Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. Tomorrow's discussion. We're actually doing a podcast tomorrow with my roommate that I mentioned previously, Zach Vincent. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and how it's really changing the world, in all honesty, and the future about it. But you can get into it. I mean, he's going to explain a lot more of that than I know. But you're right. Just sitting there, and I guess it's just like having good stocks. You know, if you got good stocks and you don't have to do anything, right, to transfer, and then you're making money. That's where it's at. I need to figure out how to do that. What's your next goal? Like, is that you're basically do you think your company's kind of topped out where it's going to be, and you want a new adventure?
I mean, I think your company, any company, can always grow.
Yeah.
Do you want to put in the time to do it?
That's the question.
At this time, I'm probably not going to grow it much more than what it is.
Yeah.
Just because I'm running out of time. I work a lot, and I also like to fish, so
that's a good point.
I kind of like the pleasure more than the work. But
well, I mean, you just graduated recently, so you got to take advantage of that. That was the biggest thing, coming home and saying, I have nothing to do. Pretty nice. It's like, what'd you do this weekend? Nothing. It was great. Yeah, no, it's but I think the thing that I realized, though, after I graduated, time started moving a lot faster. Days went by a lot faster. Next thing you realize, like, it's been a month, and you feel like you really haven't done anything, because all you've done is gone to work, come home, gone to work, come home, go fish, gone to work, come home. I'm ready to start branching out and start doing more things. Then, I mean, the next thing I want to do is after I put in those floors, I'm like, I could do this. I want to flip houses. Yeah. I think that's the easiest way to make money. Is that something that you've looked at, or something along those lines?
Absolutely. My parents were actually looking to buy a house, and either rent it or flip it, either one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're actually going to take that up, but I was contemplating actually buying that house instead.
Yourself, and doing it yourself?
Yeah.
Is that the house that came with land?
Yes.
Oh.
So this house has 10 acres, and I think it's around 1,300 to 1,500 square feet.
Heck yeah. That's perfect.
It's a little older home.
Build a lot of families, like family homes right there, because I mean, people that don't want to buy homes, you give them 1,300 square feet. That's my whole upstairs. That's plenty of room.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it comes with a covered carport, and I was like, man, this is perfect.
You could use that as a floor plan and just build the same house, and people have like their own apartment community.
Yeah.
That'd be good. And you actually want to rent?
Yeah. I'm gonna rent it out if I do get it.
Yeah. I think you should go for it, man. Yeah. Let me know. I'll help you fix it up. I did floors.
I saw your floor right here. It looks good.
Yeah. I can't wait to finish out the hallway. I just pulled up the rest of that for this hallway. I've just pulled up the parquet, which usually is a pain in the butt, but Luckily, my dad put it down, and he didn't do a good job. So I was just like, bam, 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 taking it all up, no problem. But that's probably my next adventure. Once I'm gonna sell this house, and I'll have to get a new podcast studio. But I'm gonna sell this house, and I think I'm gonna take the money that I make on it, and I'm gonna buy another house, do the same thing, keep making money, and then who knows, invest in other things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But how's the fishing coming?
Fishing is slow right now. It's been the lake is frozen.
Yeah.
And I haven't caught anything in the past like 3 trips or so.
Yeah.
So I kind of put it aside. I've been working on the boat more so than actually fishing.
How much? Like, is it actually a big expense to maintain a boat? Because me and my brother have talked about getting a boat, and I always wondered what the common maintenance on it. It was routine maintenance on it, and I've wondered. I was like, cause some people have told me horror stories, like Joel with his lifter or his cam, and I was like,
I wouldn't call that routine maintenance.
I don't know if it is.
But the maintenance isn't that bad. But when things go wrong, such as his, I think it was his reed valve broke in half or something. It was
a tiny piece, and he changed it, and it had to be like carbon fiber or something.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that happens, and it's expensive on a boat to fix it because all the parts are special order, and if you have a 20-year-old boat, which most people can't afford a brand new boat, you got to special order the parts in. They're usually crazy expensive for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where they say it's a supply and demand. I was driving down the road today, and 100% gas is always good because, it's pure gasoline, and the thing that I noticed is 10% more pure, you could say, because of ethanol being 10% in most gas. You get 10% of the benefits. So I've always told myself, like, if it's within 10%, it's worth getting because you get 10% better gas mileage, all that good stuff, which is true.
Yeah,
in case you didn't know. Yeah, because I got 20, and then when I did 100%, I got probably like 22, 23.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That is cool.
Being an engineer, we can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I was driving down the road. It's $2.29 for regular gas, and then 100% gas was $2.89. I'm like, what's the point? Why am I going to spend that much money? But I don't know. But I had something on my mind, and I can't remember what it was. It was next move. Man, I'm lost with words. I can't remember where I was going at. But sailboats. Have you ever done sailing? Yours is obviously is yours a bass boat?
Yes, it's a bass boat.
Yeah, sailing, that's the type of boat that I want. I want to get, my brother wants to get a pontoon boat. No way in hell I'll get one of those. And I want to get a sailboat because I just love it so much. And one of our coworkers does it, and he told me about all sorts of stories. He just loves it, and it's a lot more enjoyable, more peaceful to me. But how fast does your boat go, though?
It goes like 55.
Oh, that's way faster. I think mine would go 5-10 miles an hour.
But I mean, that would be kind of enjoyable. You kind of get to figure out how to sail. I think that'd be interesting.
One of the best days of my life was learning how to sail. Like, it was on one of these Sunfishes. It's a tiny boat that seriously, from corner to corner to this room, no bigger than that. Height was maybe 3 feet taller than this room. And at the end of the day, after learning, they had a race with everybody on 4th of July weekend. It was awesome because you're just chilling there, enjoying the water, having fun. And I'm thinking if I had me and my dog and I had a bigger sailboat where we could just chill out and just enjoy the water, maybe do some fishing, that'd be a damn good day.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's one of, like I tell my mom and family all the time when they ask, oh, what's your best day? It's probably that one was one of the best days of my life, along with graduating college. That was great.
Awesome.
That was great. Yeah, you went to UTC as well.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite class with it? People who don't know, Coty Riddle's a mechanical engineer, went to UTC just like me, had almost all the same classes. So why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Okay.
What was that? Your experience overall with UTC, what was that like?
I thought UTC was a pretty good school. I think they give you a good variety of things to learn about. Was the curriculum extremely difficult? Not really in most classes, depending on your instructor, of course. But
yeah, for sure.
I think that I got a good, well-rounded engineering degree.
Yeah,
from there,
a good overall education.
Absolutely.
The thing that I thought they could do better at, or just colleges in general, is we were lucky though because with UTC we did have a small classroom basis where it was like I think the max I ever had was basic engineering, where you had like 30 people.
Yeah.
But as it started going down, you'd had more focus and concentrated classes, where it was like 14-1 with teacher to student ratio. And I think they could have done more though with like hands-on experience with the mechanical engineering, because there's a lot of stuff like fixture designing, welding, and just overall, like, they should have a class where you take an engine apart and just put it together, just so you understand a full mechanical system from the ground up. I think that could have been done a lot better. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we missed out on a lot of things, such as like FEA. I asked Dr. Elliott about that, and he's like, man, we don't really have anything unless it's a graduate level class.
Just interrupt. FEA is finite element analysis, for those who don't know. That's what me and Coty actually do at work a lot of the time. And what it does is you have a structure, let's say, that is made to withstand some sort of loading or some sort of scenario that is going to be hit with something. We actually model this design and do a simulation where it loads it or hits it like it would in real life, and we determine whether or not the structure is properly strong enough, whether it can meet the standards, if not exceed them, and how to optimize it. Using this program, you're able to do that. Go ahead.
But at work, I mean, we learned about that stuff, but you don't learn anything about that in school, really.
No. I mean, they had one thing, I think, which was that 2D, 3D modeling.
Yeah.
And they showed you how to do it, but they didn't talk about, like, changing things. It was just like, oh, did it pass or fail? They didn't even teach you that. It was like, just copy and paste the results from this program. So I agree. I think that would have been a great thing, because a lot of companies ask for it too. It's like, oh, FEA experience.
Great.
Yeah, when you graduate college, good luck. Yeah. What was your senior design project?
I was actually on the Baja team.
Oh, okay.
So,
for those who don't know, what's the Baja team?
Baja is a SAE, which is the I can't think of the acronym.
Society of Automotive Engineers.
There you go.
You'll see that a lot on bolts. You'll see like SAE on bolts and hardware stores and all that. Society of Automotive Engineers. That's what it means.
It's sponsored by them, and so we build a off-road vehicle from scratch. Build the frame, everything except for the engine, basically. And
they actually give you the engine. You're not allowed to even touch it, are you?
Correct. So the only thing you can change is like maybe the spark plug gap or something. It's not very much.
As long as it's within standards.
Exactly. Yeah. It's got to be within a certain percentage of what it was or something. I didn't really read too far into that. We didn't mess with it. But so you build. We were tasked with building the drivetrain, which is the gearbox, the wheels, axles, whatever.
Basically, what links the engine to the wheels to power it.
Exactly.
Nice.
So I was I designed the gearbox using SolidWorks, which is another 3D modeling software. And then we were able to run, again, FEA on the actual sprocket design that we used instead of spur gears.
Is that what you were doing at work every now and then when you had that? Oh, nice. We get free time sometimes, so we make stuff on SolidWorks. I mean, on Creo, which is another 3D modeling software. So you actually did an FEA on the sprocket itself.
Exactly.
I didn't realize you went down that much detail. I figured you'd just do like a hand calc and say it's good to go.
No, I kind of loading the sprocket I wasn't too sure of, so not to get too in depth with that, I did a 50% chain wrap and calculated the max torque on the sprocket.
Nice. 50% chain wrap. I'm assuming you have a gear, you wrap it from one top end to the bottom end and put a load.
Exactly.
Nice. Just to explain that to people, because they're like, oh, chain wrap, what the hell is that? No, that's pretty cool. That was one of the teams that I wish I had actually ended up doing in the end, because designing a chassis frame, doing suspension calculations, when you do that, if you do suspension and chassis designs properly, that's going to make your cart faster, because you're going to handle bumps way smoother. I mean, it's just like when you see real Baja trucks when they're driving on those off-roads, it just looks like the truck is just coasting over all this rugged terrain, where your truck would just bounce and roll off,
break apart.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, how big's your truck lift now?
It's 3.5 inches.
That's not that bad.
I think Joel's up to 6 or something.
Yeah, Joel. he's gonna be pretty high up. But now he's slamming his other truck.
Oh,
he
yeah.
should come on the podcast and talk about that.
That's going to be a cool project.
I'd like to hear more about that in depth and all that. He just tacked in the subframe.
Did he?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. No one has any idea what we're talking about, but he tacked in the suspension channels and all that stuff.
What your model is? The 1957 maybe?
56, 57, 55.
Chevrolet pickup truck?
Yep, Chevy C10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Cool
looks
truck.
good. He wants to keep it all rusted body out and everything. You know, most people would want to go, get a nice paint job, blah, blah, blah. He just wants to clear coat it, have that rust look to it, which I think's awesome.
It is.
I'd like to.
Awesome.
I'd want a white one, not a blue one, but it's his truck, so all that good stuff. But yeah, how's your beer?
It's good.
Yeah.
Got the Blue Moon today.
Belgian white. I like those every now and then. We usually have Dos Equis on here, and Johnny last week had, not last week, 2 weeks ago, had Guinness, but it's pretty good. But so let's get back to starting a business and all that stuff. You said fear is a big factor, like overcoming that fear. We're gonna link back to where we were.
Okay.
What was there a lot of hesitation when you for pulling the trigger on this, or was it more, well, my parents do this, I know what I'm getting into?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of self-doubt, really. You get into it, and you're like, can I actually do this? Is it feasible for me to do this?
Yeah.
Do I have enough manpower to do this?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you just have to dig your heels in and go.
You just gotta believe in
You
yourself.
just got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't make up excuses not to do it. You just have to do it.
Oh, and I've got plenty of friends that can make up excuses for not to do it, but they're just playing devil's advocate, because if you can overcome people's, I guess, constructive criticism or criticism in general, if you can overcome and say, no, I know it's going to be good, I think you got the drive to do it. That's a passion, right? The P.
That's a passion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I had a business idea for Dalton, which was, I talked to you about it before, which was an alternative rehab center, you could say. Not an actual physical therapy or a drug addiction thing, but recovery, I guess, an alternative recovery business, which is a lot of people have been talking about float tank sessions where you have sensory deprivation. It's a tank where the temperature of the water is the same as your body, and you just float there because it's a saline solution, you could say, where it's got Epsom salt and a high concentration of it. So no matter what your body fat content is or percentage is, you're going to float. And it's good. It's relaxed people. It's helped with ADHD kids because they'll do it once a week rather than putting on Ritalin. And I had like this big idea where I could fund it with the local school because it helps with focus, cognitive thought. Overall, just calming and focus is a big benefit from these float tanks. And then also you have cryotherapy, which is an intense cold chamber that wraps around the body. You could say you just sit there, and after you've had like a long run, you're extremely sore, you just shock the system of your body with like minus 200 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures for about a minute. And then you walk out, and it's supposed to make you feel great. And then maybe a sauna, I don't know. But, I mean, it's one of those ideas, but I eventually just didn't do it because, honestly, I was afraid. I'm not going to fork up this much money and then fail. But I don't know. It's one of those things.
That was going to be a very large investment because not only did you have to buy the equipment, you also had to buy the place to put it, and it had to be a public place instead of where my business is out of my house.
Yeah, that is
it's
a
a
benefit.
big difference.
Yeah, when you have a lease rather than and monthly payment on equipment that you couldn't save up and buy, because I mean the equipment alone would have cost $75,000 at least.
Yeah.
And that's just for a ground base model, and that's for like a small area. Where my idea, I'd need 3 float tanks. I'd need 2 chambers I could probably just do one of the cryo chambers, but those cryo chambers alone are $45,000 at least. I mean, that's a lot of money, but I wish I kind of had gone through with it, a lot of it, because I think I had a great business plan. I knew who to pitch it to, and I feel like some business would have caught, oh, we'd like to invest. Hey, just buy the company, sell it, and then go. And then it'd fail with them. But the fear thing, I think you're right. It is a big factor, and that's just with everything. Like I told you earlier, I'm going to start investing in Bitcoin. And I was like, I'm forking over money hoping it's going to work. But, I mean, if you think about it, you're doing the same thing with a 401k and a Roth IRA.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's a risk. That's part of the entrepreneur definition.
You should call it like 3PR system. Passion. I mean, you gotta take a chance with that. But I like it though. I like taking that chance because you get a drive, you get a motivation, you get excited. I mean, just like starting the podcast, forked up the money. I know I'm not gonna make money from this, but you still make an investment. You make time, try to get it.
Something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean having these basic conversations because. If anything, people talk about this stuff. Oh, man, I got a good bar idea. What do I call it? Loopies, because people get drunk and get loopy. I don't know. But, I don't know. What's your next business plan besides? Do you have actually a new plan? Let's say it's not renting houses or it's not expanding your business. What would be the next business you jump into?
That's a good question. I don't really have anything at this point, but I tried to do the stock market thing, kind of similar to the app you showed me earlier where you get on there and you trade penny stocks, basically.
Yeah.
That didn't work out for me.
You didn't? Oh, you actually tried it?
I tried it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up losing a little bit more money than I wanted to, and I was like,
how much did you lose?
Do
you mind if I ask?
No, it was like $20, but I mean, that was more than what I wanted to lose.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just like playing poker.
It is.
I'm surprised that
it was addicting.
Oh, I bet. Did you make any gains? You had to make some.
I made like $100.
Oh,
and it was awesome.
So you made $100. That's what locks you in.
That's
how you lose more money.
I was like, I gotta quit.
Yeah, that's how you get. I did the same thing when online poker was still legal. I played one time. I was in one of these $3 rebuy tournaments, but since they have like 1,000 people, the pot's $3,000 basically. And then you have rebuys. So then the pot keeps going up because people, after they lose the money, they rebuy. Eventually they cut it off. And I was like, there were only 30 people left and I was still running. I was like, oh, man. And then I won this big poker hand and I was number one with the chip leader. I was sitting there. I was like, I'm number one chip leader. I'm going to do this. I was like, I can just bluff people out. And I lost my money in like an hour.
Oh, no.
It was all gone. I finished, I think I want to say like 13th. I got like a couple $100 from it.
It's not too bad.
No, I was very thrilled. And then I used that and I did private games and I did $100 like one table. Everyone puts in $100 and I won that. And I was like, oh man, I lost it all after a while because you get cocky.
Yeah, you do.
But I like that about gambling. But okay, I don't get why gambling is illegal, but stock market, Bitcoin, all these risk-taking things, like those are still legal.
You know why?
Because they can't monitor it. Is that why? The government?
And somebody's getting a share when you're sharing those stocks. Mm-hmm. Somebody's getting some money.
Well, I mean, you just do a house rule. Yeah. Everyone be like, oh, $20 buy-in? Oh, we get $2 out of that $20. I just don't. I cannot comprehend their logic for saying that, okay, that's illegal, but the lottery is legal. Mm-hmm. How does that work?
That's gambling.
That's 100% gambling. You're putting your money in, and that eventually pays for the pot. And once it's done, someone wins.
Yeah.
I don't get that crap. I think it's total bullshit.
Yep.
But I don't know. Have you thought about? Do you get into that mode where the lottery gets? Once it gets to a certain point, well, I might as well buy a ticket.
No, I see my chances are like 1 in 165 billion or something.
Yeah. So I think it's like 1
I'm not that lucky.
Yeah. Did you see that last time where it went up to like 1 billion some odd dollars, 1.6? Mm-hmm. I was one of these stupid people that read it, and I was like, oh, idiot! I can't believe I fell for that. So the odds of winning the lottery were like 1 in 257 million. So someone was like, "Oh, just invest that and you'll win," because you would fill out all those chances. Mm-hmm. But no, that wasn't the part. The part was that if someone won the $1.6 billion. It was like, oh, there's 300 some odd million people. And it was like, oh, everyone would get like $16,000, so on and so forth. And I was like, oh, that math makes total sense. And then I sat there, I was like, oh, my friend reminded me, it was like, no, everyone would get $3.42. Because they like moved the decimal place in the wrong area and was saying everyone gets like $1 million.
I saw that. I was like, there's no. I did it on my calculator. I was like, no way.
I fell for it. I mean, even though you read it and you know the number's wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, that makes total sense. Why don't we just do that? I don't know.
Sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded good. What do you think about have you looked at the new tax bill?
I have not.
No? Yeah, so you don't know anything about it?
I don't.
No. Doesn't really affect people much.
Probably not.
No, I mean, it's helping people a little bit, but down the road, it's going to hurt, according to Johnny.
According to Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny was talking about there's this law,
That
a
was your
Berg law.
previous podcast, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Johnny was on the previous podcast number 2, and it's like a Berg law or a Borg law, and it's saying that they can only add when you're putting a bill for like taxes or something, you can only add $1.5 trillion to the national debt, and for them to keep all these itemized deductions, your write-offs that you get, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to keep that is by reducing it to where it only lasts 5 years. Yeah, and that limited them to like $1.49 trillion added to the national debt. I was like, clever. So whoever 5 years from now, they're screwed.
Yeah.
They got to deal with that, and they got to be the person like, well, we got to raise taxes now. I don't know how it's going to affect anybody.
They're just manipulating numbers.
Yeah. Well, besides the fear of investing in a company or just starting your own, what's like the one fundamental rule, or what's one thing that you would tell a person if they're going to start it? Like, you got to do this, or make sure you do this, or here's a couple things that you should take care of before doing that.
I think you really need to know how much money you actually want to invest in your company.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing the limitations of your company,
Yeah.
Knowing your market. So I would suggest, I guess, just research about what you want to do.
Yeah.
That would probably be my number one suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you have a market out there.
Yeah.
Make sure if you're going to sell a product, make sure somebody's going to buy your product.
Yeah.
If you're doing well,
just because you like it doesn't mean everyone else is going to like it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Although Steve Jobs did something clever with that, because I mean, even with the iPhone, like before he created the iPhone, nobody wanted an iPhone.
That's a good point. Well, he had the funding to screw it up, so
Yeah.
it didn't really matter for that point.
Other suggestions would be,
It's a tough question
Got
to think
nothing.
about that stuff. Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's something to really take care of, especially with the whole marketing. Just because you like the idea doesn't mean other people. Make sure you got people that want to buy it.
Yeah.
I guess someone told me that you should not share your idea. You shouldn't talk to it. Like, if you really want to do it, don't talk to it about anybody. Don't talk to anybody about it. Not because they're going to steal it, because the more hype you get for it, the more likely you're going to shut yourself down.
Yeah.
You'll stay focused and on the drive, like, this is what I got to do. Don't be one of those people that talks about it and then just never does it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did with that recovery center, and that's what I think one of those things where I could have possibly made some money on, but never going to know until I do it.
You think you psyched yourself out about it?
I did. Yeah, I had a lot of people that, I guess once I found out, like, the amount of money that I need to invest, I didn't have any collateral, so I didn't have anything for the companies to fall back on. I don't know. I wish, I wish there was, like, more friendlier ways to start a business, as in, like, I guess the GoFundMe website is probably the best idea, but that's more for inventors than anything.
Yeah.
With
that
ideas.
And what's the, there's another one.
There is Kickstart.
Yeah.
Kickstart, yeah. There's amazing, like, some of them. Did you see the conveyor system 3D printer?
No.
Yes, it's a 3D printer. They made their money within 10 minutes. And it was like $40,000.
That's
like,
impressive.
Good. So it's a fast printing 3D printer made for production parts. Like, it's no longer here's prototype, this works. It's used for production, and they have a conveyor belt system. And so instead of printing on the grid and printing up, it's a conveyor system. So they print layers side to side.
That's cool.
Rather than from the bottom up. So they and then it was pretty smart. And then they had the conveyor system, because after you do 3D print, you have to pry it off the build tape or the build platform.
Mm-hmm.
Their platform kinked down a little bit, but since it was still glued right here, it would just rip off by itself. And
Nice.
it just kept going. And they had some parts that were foot by foot, and they made it for companies, and so it would just be like a rapid production part that would just build, so there are no more castings and all that. I wonder I think eventually that's going to be the next big thing.
I'm excited to see where 3D printing is going.
100%. It's going to, especially
It's like
once they make metal really 3D print, because they can already do it, but once they make it more readily available and not like $250,000 for a machine that can print something this big,
yeah,
I think that's where it's going to be big.
I think the concrete idea was pretty cool, where they're building those houses with the center positioned concrete 3D
And it was
printer.
like the round houses and all that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't see why they don't just take that machine, send it out to countries that are in need. How much is that going to cost? That's a GoFundMe website I would support, because then now you're building structures for families out in Africa or Indonesia or any of these not like humid, hot areas where people can die just of heat stroke.
Yeah.
Now you got places where you can do it. And then there's a UFC fighter that's building wells in all these tribes around Africa. I don't know the name. It may not be Africa. I can't remember the guy. I'll have to look it up. It was on the Rogan podcast, and he goes, all the money he makes from the UFC, he goes to support with this, and he goes himself to build these wells. And now he's like orchestrated a team where he doesn't have to go anymore, and they go, y'all need a well? They'll dig down and create a well. It's an incredible system.
That's awesome.
Okay, what's the next? You think 3D printing is best? 3D printing is the next big thing, or is there something else that you think is going to be the next big thing?
I think electric vehicles are going to be the next big thing.
Yeah,
it's really coming on hot right now.
Yeah, especially with Tesla releasing their economy, or the economic purchase, which is $35,000.
Yeah, did you see their 18-wheeler?
I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. Does it actually like?
It can go like 350 miles or something.
With a full load?
With a full 80,000-pound load. And it's faster than a diesel truck. Like 0 to 60 is
yeah, 100%. I bet the efficiency on that's great. No more bogged down trucks on the hills. You know what I'm talking about, where you're driving up a hill and you see this.
It just goes.
Flashers. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. That's something that should have really been looked into.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for companies that do business around localized areas, where it's basically like, oh, here's the distribution plant. We have 7 companies that we can deliver to within 30 miles of each other.
Yeah,
you could do a whole day's work right there.
They threw up a statistic on there. I watched the video that they did for their truck, introducing their truck. They said that most 18-wheelers don't go within a 300-mile radius. So
yeah.
Or maybe it was 150 miles, something. It said that they could go
basically
there
and back. Go wherever they needed to.
Right.
See, and that's a lot of people, because of instantly like, well, 18 will go like 700 miles. Like, how often is it really going 700 miles? And it's like, or if that's the case, the people that need to go 700 miles, they go 700 miles.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to have charge stations where they'll be able to charge it up in 15 minutes and it's gone.
Yep. I mean, they have to sleep. So
yeah, exactly. And then 300 some odd miles, you're going 60 miles an hour, because those things barely ever get to 70.
Yeah.
Let's say you go 70. So 70, 140. Let's see, what's 70 times 70? Oh, man, I can't believe it's about like 5 hours of driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only got 3 more hours. So.
Yeah, about to say. So
take a nap.
Take a nap. Or the other thing is, eventually they'll get to, with those charge stations, they've talked about to have the rapid charges rather than taking like an hour with a charge plug. They actually thought about taking like sensors, and you would park at this location and it would locate where the battery is, detach it, put a charged battery in. So you constantly have a new charge, ready to go battery, and you'll be in and out within 2 minutes, which is the time spent at a standard gas pump.
That'd be cool. Although I think it would be difficult for a company to do that.
To actually make the change?
Well, no, not for the company driving the truck, but for whoever's supplying the batteries.
Yeah.
Those batteries are extremely expensive, which I know you know about your hybrid that you have.
I drove a hybrid a while ago. For people who don't know, I say that phrase a lot. I need to work on that. Anyways, so people know, I drove a hybrid a while ago, and I thought it was great because I got like 50 miles to the gallon, but it was weak and slow. You remember driving up the hill with 5 of us, and it started just slowing down, and we're hitting the gas all the way down. But that battery started dying because it would need to be replaced every 100 or so thousand miles, and I was approaching that mark to replace it again. I think I had like 190 miles on it, 190,000. I don't know. But I wanted to sell it or change the battery. And I looked up the battery cost, and it was $3,500 to replace the battery. I bought the car for $2,000. There's no way I'm buying $3,500 battery. Part of me wishes I had, because I'd save a lot in gas driving to work and back. But until they figure out how to bridge the gap with how much these batteries cost, or how much these electrical components cost, and the cost of the vehicle themselves, I think there's going to be a battle between it, because people are so used to gasoline. It's something that they like seeing. They're told, oh, it works. So they're embedded in their mind, this is the best option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, V8 trucks are cool. I'm not going to lie. I love diesel trucks. I'd love to have to roll some coal down the road any day. But in the end, I think you're right. I think the best move for just the growth of the country, and the growth in the best thing for, environment-wise too, it's going to be those electric vehicles.
Absolutely.
I noticed they haven't had an electric. Do they have an electric SUV or electric pickup?
I don't think so.
Pickup's one of the most common vehicles people buy. Just a big 4-door pickup.
Yeah.
Why haven't they done that?
They need to.
That'd be the next thing.
There's
Tesla's going to release it. Or why doesn't a company just take advantage of this technology that Tesla's releasing? It's like, utilize it. Why doesn't Nissan have their own? They've got the Nissan Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy has the Volt, right?
Volt, yep.
What is it, Toyota?
But they're not very popular cars, though.
I think they
don't market
them. Well, it's because they market the Malibu and the Chevy truck so much.
Yeah.
I wonder if they did a marketing plan that focused and really pushed for their electric vehicles, would it help? Because there's no company that does it. I don't think I've ever seen a Tesla commercial. Have you?
No. Well, no.
No. They haven't had to, because
it's all hype.
Yeah, it's the hype. It's the thing. But I think I've seen one Nissan Leaf commercial and a Volt commercial, but I haven't seen one where their sole purpose for all right, guys, this year we are pushing our electric vehicle. This is what needs to be done. This is what's best for the environment. Let's focus on it, and let's motivate people to purchase these things. But then again, what's the range on them?
They're choosing money over.
I don't blame
environment,
them.
But that's a business. You kind of have to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Something I found out was. I talk about health and eating well and all that stuff, is I read, and I finally found the article on it. In the 1960s, there was a test done to talk about people paying because this is what makes money. In the 1960s, testing was done with fats and sugar. And the sugar company paid the scientists to falsify documents. This document was released to falsify documents saying that sugar is not good for you. Sugar is a sign of cancer, signs of heart disease, all that stuff. They actually paid the scientists to falsify those documents. And now you ask anybody, oh, hey, what do you? I need to lose some weight. What do I need to do? I was like, oh, you stop eating fats. And come to find out, fats are one of the best things for you, and you should actually just cut out your sugar. That's another health podcast, so I don't need to get into that discussion. But just talking about how people grain in on making money rather than doing the right thing. I wonder if that mentality is what is winning over at Tesla. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's just a thought. I don't know. I'd like to find a car company that actually says, this is what needs to be done, rather than, I don't know, or just any company in general. Is there a company that makes products solely on recycled items? I'm sure there are. There's got to be
something.
I don't know. Anyways. Well, man, it's been about an hour.
All right.
You want to call it quits?
It has been an hour.
It has? All right, good. Thank you for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and remember, people, go to my Instagram page, Skewed Reality Podcast, and make sure to follow and like and subscribe on the link. And we will see you tomorrow with Zach Vincent talking about Bitcoin and other investing methods. So, again, Cody, thanks for coming on talking about being an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, see ya.